Hi guys. I was going to say I'm phoning you from. I'm speaking to you from my car. You can see I'm not live, and this is some AI created video. I'm in the car. It's quite cold. You see, the car is the only place that I can stay warm, because in order to heat the car, it doesn't cost much. It costs fuel, a diesel. So I'll switch it on for about 10 minutes, and then the heat stays inside. Everything you say is going to be bad for someone, you know. You're destroying the planet. It's only 10 minutes. My feet are still freezing. My feet and my fingers are cold. But it's not bad. It's not that cold today. The problem is, like, today is a little bit, you can actually see the sun as well, and clouds. Like, it's so nice. But sorry, I'll take this off. But yeah, so what's the problem? No problem, still a bit of brain fog because I'm coming off the medication. So I thought, let me see if I can get to that fat adapted stage. You know, that like people do the keto or carnivore, they stop carbohydrates, and they say that after a certain time, after within 48 hours, 72 hours, they feel their brain is really clear, no more brain fog. You know, less inflammation in the brain. But having said that, people who go vegan, like a raw vegan diet or a fruitarian diet, only eat fruits, they feel the same. So how can both be right? Well, they can be, because the reason why they have brain fog, there could be like multiple, there could be two reasons, and both those diets address those reasons. So when it comes to this is not an in-depth video, but when it comes to like the carnivore or the keto diet, you stop eating carbohydrates and you stop it. You use ketones as fuel, or ketone bodies, whatever. So you don't use glucose, you use fat as fuel. And somehow it's converted to this thing called ketones, and they fuel your brain. It's supposed to be a cleaner fuel for your brain. And so the reason why it reduces brain fog, I think, is because there's a theory that you have diabetes, you've got, what's it called? Insulin resistance. There's a type 1, type 2, and they say that type 3 is an insulin resistance in the brain, so it can't cope with all that garbage sugar and garbage fat, and it's all clogged up, and so it can't handle the glucose, so it can't work properly. So once you stop the glucose, then it gets clean fuel via ketones. And there are other things in meat that are good for the brain. Glycine, proline, glutamine, B complex, you know, the B complex, all the B vitamins, or most of them. So it's really nourishing for the brain, and especially if you eat fish, then you've got omega-3 fats as well, DHA, EPA, but the DHA I think is more important. So I hear vegans saying, but you can get that from the algae. The fish originally get it from the algae. Yeah, it's true. I don't know how potent it is compared to cod liver oil or fish oil or salmon, wild salmon. I don't know. But the vegans will say, you know, eating meat carries risks. You know, cancer, diabetes, heart disease or whatever, because of affecting mTOR, mammalian target of rapamycin, affecting IGF-1 or insulin-like growth factor 1, and other growth factors that can stimulate growth of cancer, metastases and things like that. But they fail to recognize that carbohydrates also stimulate IGF-1, because insulin, like growth factor 1, is stimulated by insulin, right? Whatever you eat stimulates insulin. So you could be eating a vegan diet and stimulating IGF-1 much more than if you're eating a carnivore diet. How is that possible? Simple. When you eat a carnivore diet, even though it is disgusting, I'm not saying you should do that or do keto. I'm just saying we're just experimenting here, right? I'm not a master. I'm just like you guys. Even worse, I'm like you guys are here. I'm here. Which means, I experiment with diets and I fail, then go to something else, So I'm always at this basement level. But from what I understand, the ketovore diet and the carnivore diet affects certain pathways, whereas the vegan diet affects other pathways. So going back to the brain, why is it people who do a fruitarian diet or a raw vegan diet, after a few days, wow, I've got no more brain fog, I feel great, everything clears up? Well, there's a different mechanism there. So maybe their brains are clogged up with fat. Maybe fat is a problem. They have problems, metabolizing fat or whatever. And stop it. They shouldn't really be together. I have to separate them. And so once they eat fruits, they get that sugar, that glucose that they're craving. And also you've got polyphenols and anthocyanins. You've got antioxidants in the fruits or fruits and vegetables, and those actually help as well. So both can work, So going back to what was I saying, this morning I had a lamb. Now, as soon as I woke up, I had these probiotics, the histamine degrading probiotics, and they're special ones. They're not just the ones that you can get from the supermarket or on Amazon. I did get these off Amazon. But you see, what is she doing? Most probiotics have strains in them, have bacteria that will make your histamine problems worse. So you have to choose like a specialized one that doesn't give problems if you've got histamine intolerance, if you've got leaky gut. See, so even things like kimchi, sauerkraut, be quiet, even probiotics, they can, give you problems because they feed the bacteria that causes all these problems. Stop it! Hey, stop it! It's that Sally. She's the instigator of trouble. She runs round and they chase her. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! I better go in and sort them out, because otherwise they're going to start fighting. If there's a fight, it's horrible. She's a troublemaker. Look at it. Look what I did. It's your fault, Sally. Bloody hell. Dribbling. Now Betty's barking because there's a dog next door. I'll get back to you in a minute. I'll just leave them. So I had lamb this morning, 2 eggs, some salt on top, some olive oil. Before that I had the probiotic, as I said. And I felt sick. I felt bloody sick. It was so sickening. Like so much fat. I don't know if my body Now that I close this window, she's just yapping all the time. I have to get that thing that stops dogs from yapping. Not the electric shock one, but the vibration thing here, so she knows not to yap. She's constantly yapping. Bloody hell. So I felt unbelievably sick. And I'm not sure if my body can take that fat, because I've got cholesterolosis, which is cholesterol polyps in the gallbladder, and I have to have those checked every 6 months, every year. Fatty liver, but that fatty liver seems to, I think it's gone away, or it was really mild, or it's gone away. So that's a good thing. Well, my last appointment, my last scan, it was almost gone, or gone, they couldn't see anything. So I must be doing something right. But the last time I did the ketovore diet, I don't think I did it properly. So I was thinking, I might as well just try and do it properly, you know, try and eat a proper ketovore diet, which means almost carnivore, which means almost just meat. So you can have a little bit of avocado with the meat. You can have maybe broccoli or something with the meat. You can have some herbs like thyme, rosemary, sage, these kind of things that will help kill those bugs down there, send a few nuclear bombs down there with the food. But it is quite boring. Once you eat it, you think you've got no pleasure in eating, put it that way. There's no pleasure involved. Yeah, eating meat is nice, but if you only eat meat, okay, well, you eat fish, that's roughly the same, isn't it? It's a muscle meat. You eat liver, okay, that's really strong. Eggs, it just gives you this this kind of feeling. And then the butter on top, butter, olive oil. Ugh. So I don't know. But the good thing about carnivore is you don't eat any carbohydrates. So you don't eat anything that will feed the bad bacteria in the gut. So that's a good thing. So that's what kind of heals you, because everything, they say, was it Hippocrates or somebody who said that all diseases come from the gut. But an Italian scientist, he was studying the gut, he says all diseases come from a leaky gut. So once your gut becomes leaky, that's when diseases occur. That's when they begin. You can have a leaky gut when you're young. Usually it's when you're older, you age. You know, if you have lots of stress, it affects the gut. If you do like long distance running, that destroys the gut as well. You know, if you did long distance running every day, like some people do, apparently it destroys the gut. It tears the gut up. You end up having leaky gut or gut permeability problems. So when you eat proteins like the gliadin, the wheat, the dairy, all these things go through into your body when they're not supposed to. And so your immune system, most of your immune system is on the other side of the gut wall, the small intestine, and they're waiting there because that's the only place in the body that the outside meets the inside. So when you're eating food, you put food inside your body, right? No, you don't. This is still outside your body. It's not inside your body. It doesn't have access to blood, and you know, when the food goes down your throat, it's not inside your body. It goes into your stomach, it's not inside your body. This is still classed as the outside. When it goes to the small intestine, it's classed as inside your body, because food is like a language. It communicates with the inside of your body. This is good, this is bad, you know, and it has small holes that allow certain proteins to go through. But once you have leaky gut, these small holes are massive, and so it allows larger molecules, larger proteins to go through, and your body doesn't want that. It sees them as an invader, and then you start having autoimmune disease. So your body sees this molecule, like for example dairy, and for example it looks like this, right? It looks like that, and the wheat looks like this, for example, and then it starts to attack these molecules. But it just so happens, for example, that this looks almost the same as your bones. So when you drink lots of milk, you can get arthritis because of something called, I think it's called molecular mimicry. So it thinks these structures are enemies. So you start to attack your own body. It could be joints. If you have Hashimoto's, could be your thyroid, could be this, could be that, depending on what you eat. So once you stop eating these foods, autoimmune diminishes a lot, or goes away, or goes into remission. And that's how it works. That's the theory. But it's bloody boring. Imagine eating just meat and fat and salt and loads of water. It gets boring really quick. But I suppose you have to weigh up if it makes you feel, depends how sick you are. If you're so sick that you want to just die, or you don't want to take it anymore, and you eat this diet and it makes you feel normal again, you'll do it, won't you? So that's what I was doing today. Yeah, sick feeling because my body doesn't want the fat, but my body also doesn't want the carbohydrates that feed the bugs in the small intestine. I know some people were saying, Gerald, why don't you just go to the doctor? You think I haven't gone to the doctor? The doctor gives me, what the doctor does is make me or other people more sick. The whole reason that I've got this problem is because of the doctors. Because 34 years ago, I was given omeprazole, which is a PPI, a proton pump inhibitor. So basically, omeprazole was a class of drug that reduces acid. The way it reduces it is by, we have proton pumps that create acid. And this is my basic knowledge. The proton pump inhibitors inhibit these proton pumps, and they stop them from producing acid. Is it the parietal cells or something like that? I'm going too much out of my my zone. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I've heard of things like that. But so, and I've been taking SSRIs. Well, an SSRI, which is an antidepressant. So the anti-acid drug and the antidepressant, they're inhibitors. They inhibit something that happens naturally in the body. So what the doctors say is, well, if you inhibit this, you'll feel better. When it comes to acid reflux, yeah, you do feel better, because having reflux all the time, there's a danger that you can get what is it called, esophageal cancer. So you get to a point where you have to take it. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. What do you mean damned if you do? Well, studies showed, this is in the past, that if you take omeprazole or a PPI, you reduce acid, right? And so this reduction of acid reduces the you need acid in order to digest protein, to digest food. I think less so for carbohydrates, because in the mouth, when you chew, if you chew food properly, then you've got amylase, which helps to prepare the food to be digested. So it actually, I think it also amylase it's a digestive enzyme, and you have that in your mouth. You should have it in your mouth, and it's like almost pre-digested by the time it goes into your stomach. So that's why you should actually practice not bruxism, Fletcherism, which is basically chewing your food for a long time, so until it becomes liquid. I know it's a bit nasty, but if you can chew your food slowly, then you eat less. It's partially digested by the time it goes to your stomach, especially if it's carbohydrate. And yeah, so it's a good thing. Look at them. They're all like fighting. Look at Timmy. He's getting to know Jerry. He's smelling him. Jerry seems to be the leader of the pack, and they're all eyeing each other up. It should be okay. That Dave, he doesn't understand. He's the biggest, but they're standing up to him. Why? Yeah, so as I said, I'm trying this. As soon as I try it, I think, what the hell am I doing? So, oh, right, yeah. I got this xanthelasma, which is, you have a little yellow kind of sac or ball and a crusty one here in my eye. And those are called xanthelasma. Even though I went to the nurse and she said, I'm not sure, it doesn't look like anything to me. Some of these doctors are almost useless. I know people will say, well, or think, well, you're not an expert, are you? No, I'm not an expert. But if I kind of know what's wrong with me and they don't, how are they in this? How are they in this position? I tell you, I don't trust doctors. I mean, they're useful, of course. When you've got some disease, of course, they're very useful, and they help you. But some of the times they're like useless. I can count how many times. I can tell you how many times that they've made mistakes with me and family members, friends, and some are lethal ones where the person passed away. The family couldn't sue because they're so distraught. Yeah, when my godmother passed away because she was taking medication, and this medication was making her cough. It was an arthritis medication, but they didn't know that she had some congenital situation, or not disease, but congenital. Call it disease, but it was dormant. And in the literature, it says that you should check if this person, make sure that when you administer this drug, if the person has this congenital problem, because it might switch on. Basically, she had loads of inflammation in her lungs, and it scarred her lungs. It destroyed her lungs. So she couldn't breathe, and she passed away. When she was almost passing away, they said, "Oh, we've just realized that she was given this medication, and she had this congenital disease. And if you take this medication with the disease, it will cause that." So like basically, they didn't say sorry because it implies guilt, doesn't it? And so my godfather left it at that. He's so distraught. His family are like, what can you do? They're not angry or anything. They're just like sad that the mother passed away. I was pissed, really pissed off. It's your fault. Why don't you check these things? It's fair enough you make a mistake. She kept going back to the doctor saying, I'm coughing, I've got a terrible cough, I can't breathe properly. Couldn't that stupid doctor put two and two together? The drug that he or she was giving her, are there any potential downfalls or contraindications? You should have checked, what are the contraindications? She's not taking these. What else could be causing this problem? Oh, that congenital disease that we all know about in the literature. No! That's why I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I mean, I trust them, but I do my own. When I go to the doctor, I do my own research beforehand and afterwards as well. Don't trust them. I'm not saying I have the knowledge base that they have. No, not at all. But I'm saying that they're human beings and they make mistakes. They do make so many mistakes. People put them up on a pedestal. We all do, don't we? I remember my mum and dad growing up saying, Jada, why don't you be a doctor? You like all this stuff. Get one certificate, son, and go and work in that hospital. Well, my dad wanted me to be a cleaner or a porter. Mum wanted me to be a doctor. I was neither. Well, I was both. I did work as a cleaner. Helped my dad, when he was doing the cleaning jobs. And I'm paranoid about health. So kind of. Not as a job though. Yeah, so the last time I did the ketovore diet, carnivore diet, I did a dirty ketovore. It's called dirty keto. So I would eat meat, and then in the evening, no one's looking, I would eat a packet of crisps and have some tea with honey inside, of course. Because I need to have teas all day because of dopamine. I need to give myself that buzz just to feel normal. Because people with ADHD have low, that was strange the way I said that, low dopamine. And so, you tend to search for things, drugs, to give you that high, to give you that dopamine spike. But then it goes down again, you're back to normal. So I ended up, for decades, having teas all the time. So no wonder I couldn't come off these anti-acid drugs. And so these anti-acid drugs and the antidepressants, there have been studies that suggest that they can, if you take them long term, they suggest that the risk of dementia goes up. The risk of cancer also goes up. Cancer of gastric cancer of the stomach. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If you take the PPI, the acid suppressant medication, long term, you have a potential problem with gastric cancer because you're suppressing something called gastrin, and if it's always being suppressed, the body tries to make gastrin, and you could end up with gastric cancer. That's the kind of mechanism, but also there are studies to show that people who have been on PPIs long term have a higher incidence of gastric cancer. If you don't take it and you've got acid reflux and acid refluxes up your throat all the time, then you can get esophageal cancer. So which do you choose? I choose to heal, so neither. So I'm thinking, in order to come off both, I have to have a plan. I do have a plan, and part of the plan is like losing weight. So I am overweight. I am 108 kilos. I should be 73. So I have to lose about 40 kilos, thereabouts. It can be done though, because I've done that. I've lost more than 30 kilos in 3 months the first time I went to China. So I kind of know how to do it. My body knows because it's done it before. So that's what I need to do again. But I'm not living the same kind of life that I lived when I was in China. I was walking around. I was drinking green teas. I was talking to people. I didn't have access to a fridge. I just had access to a flask in the northwest region of China called Qinghai, and I lived in a town called Xining. It was very, very poor there. So every day I was walking. Funnily enough, I didn't have any fruits or vegetables, really. I just ate carbohydrates and meat, and like I slashed 30 kilos in 3 months. So it can work, I should do a diet of tinned salmon sandwiches. Yeah, and I'll lose weight probably. That's all you need. Gluten-free sandwiches, those disgusting plastic ones. That bread is like plastic, isn't it? It just falls apart. You know, sometimes you buy the reduced one. Oh, it's just a little bit reduced. You know why it's reduced. As soon as you open the pack, it just falls apart. You know, when you want to make a toast, you want that one piece, don't you? But then it falls apart in half and you've got this like little bit. What's the point? It's still bread. Yeah, you can still use it in a soup or something. You can crumble it up, but it's a bit like chocolate, isn't it? Like, remember, like, if you guys still buy chocolate, if you buy, you know, like the Milky Bar, it's really thin, isn't it? And if you buy it, by the time you get to the, you know, the cashier, if it's broken in half, you don't want it. You want a full piece, don't you? I don't know where we get that from. It's still the same, isn't it? No, but I can't eat none of that. No way. So, yeah, that's my talk today about my situation. I think the reason why it didn't work last time, I had some strange, really, really strange symptoms, and I'll tell you that in the next video. Because already it's 31 minutes. I don't want to bore you guys to death. Like I can see some of you. Bye, Gerald. All right, I'll speak to you in the next video. I'll explain to you, in this way, I'll explain to you why I think I failed, or it's not that the diet failed, that I failed the diet, or I didn't do it properly. So I'll explain to you why and how I can correct it. And if it doesn't work, I've got a backup plan. All right, speak to you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.